What's up everyone? Today we're going to look at some amazing rare pattern skins in CS2 that you can get for $5 or less. I checked all prices manually and went off current listings that I found on CS2 or Skinport, and this list will include number 1 rare patterns that you can pick up right now for a few dollars. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy and let's get right into the video. First up, we have the Deagle Bronze Deco, with rare patterns having a full golden back facing the player. This skin looks pretty clean on its own, but you can get patterns where the hammer and full backside will have a shiny gold color to it, and the better the pattern, the more gold appears on the backside. These cost around $2, and if you're patient, you could definitely get one of the top 3 best patterns for a couple bucks at most, with pattern 703 being the number 1 best pattern with a fully golden backside. If you're looking for a budget deagle, these are a great option, and the rare patterns just improve the base look of the skin while staying near market price. Next up, we have Etched, which is one of the best P2000 skins in my opinion, since they are bright and multicolored. Now, the rare patterns have 4-leaf clovers on them, with pattern 326 being the best one since the 4-leaf clover shows up on the backside facing the player, and I was shocked to see this number 1 pattern listed on Float for literally $3 in field tested. This skin is patina based, so you don't really have to worry about the condition, and considering number 1 patterns are usually way over market price, this right here is a crazy good deal. If you're looking for a cheap P2000 skin and enjoy rare patterns, you should definitely check this one out at some point. Moving on, we have the Glock Moonrise with the star pattern on the slide catch, and since most people know about this one, I'll mention it briefly. There's a pretty large number of these rare patterns, and the skin itself is pretty cheap, so this should cost you around $2 at most. Now, if you're looking for one of these Glocks, I recommend going for the ones where the star is dead center on the slide catch. It's way cleaner than the patterns where the star gets cut off. If you have a light blue inventory, or you're looking for cyan colored skins, the Polymer CZ75 is for you. Now, majority of patterns here are either green or a mix of green and blue, but some rare patterns like pattern 842 have full blue on them from the trigger to the slide. I found multiple listings on CS Float for the max blue patterns under $1, and I'm sure you can find them even cheaper since factory new price for these polymers is 30 cents. This is the only CZ in the game with this light blue metallic finish, and works really well with any blue gloves like the overprints. Next on the list, we have the AUG Snake Pit with the rare frog patterns. A frog will show up on the AUG depending on the rare pattern, but on 494, which is the best one, the frog will be up top towards the front of the gun and always visible. The other great benefit of this pattern is that it comes with the center dragon that covers most of the gun and looks a lot better than most other patterns. You can get this number 1 rare pattern for around $250 on the market, and there's a huge supply of these, so you shouldn't pay that much over market price. This is another great budget option that lets you get the best pattern for quite a cheap price. The rare Glock grinder patterns are one of my favorites because they have a full black slide with highlights of yellow, green, and orange, which is perfect for crafting and looks amazing in my opinion. The trick with getting a good price on these is looking for a tier 2 or 3 pattern because the number 1 pattern is very expensive, so I recommend checking the market and finding patterns that don't have the spiral on it so the slide will be full black. A good pattern with these Glocks goes for around $250, and you can also customize the highlight colors of the skin by messing around with the pattern IDs. The MP9 Mount Fuji is a great skin, and rare patterns will have a triple sun layout where another sun appears on the back of the gun besides the typical 2 that you see with most patterns. Now, the skin itself is a bit expensive, so you will have to go for low float field tested to stay on budget, and these rare patterns are listed for a regular market price of around $4. The trick to finding these rare patterns when inspecting is having the mountain art as far right as possible so the pattern generates another sun on the back of the gun. If you don't mind going over the price limit, you can get one of these rare patterns for around $10 in factory new. This is a clean skin with a clean rare pattern at market price, so it's a win-win all around. Another great Glock skin is the Nuclear Garden, which is highly pattern based. While most patterns are a mix of bones and skulls, some rare patterns actually have 5 skulls on them lined up on the slide, and it comes out looking really clean. I recommend looking for tier 2 and tier 3 patterns since they are pretty close to market price but have a great visual upgrade from your average patterns. Now, it's the same thing here as the MP9. You will have to go for a lower condition like field tested since these are inherently more expensive, but you should be able to find a pattern with 5 skulls for around $4 in field tested. Blue leaf XM patterns are also well known, so I'll just show you some pattern examples that have this leaf. The lower tier patterns go for around $4, and sometimes you can find a full spectral fade for around the same price, where you see all 3 shades of blue on that one leaf like I'm showing here. There's a lot of variety with this skin in terms of pattern IDs, but these blue leaf patterns also have a full color gradient of yellow, green, and orange that works really well if you're going for sticker crafts on your XM. One of the most pattern-based skins on the Mac 10 is the Last Dive, with its aquatic theme of seahorses and divers. I mentioned the skin in my rare patterns video, specifically the number 1 best pattern, 509, where the skull is perfectly aligned in the back with the diver in the middle, and I was very surprised to see this number 1 pattern listed on Float for $5 to $6 in field tested. While there's a lot of great patterns for this skin, I think 509 is by far the best one, with the artwork being perfectly centered on the gun, but keep in mind that there are plenty of other patterns that have a similar look. With this skin being on the Mac 10 and 509 being the best rare pattern available, I think this skin is a great choice at the $5 price point. And for our last skin, we have the Acid Fade SSG, which got a huge buff in CS2 and looks great in bright lighting. These acid fades work the same as normal fade skins. The fade percentage dictates how much color appears on the gun, so rare patterns that have over 99% fades will have a full green scope, green body, and this amber color that appears on the stock as well. This thing looks incredibly clean with the lime green color and has huge crafting potential since it has an anodized finish. These acid fades have absurdly high supply and cost $1 on the market, so you could easily find yourself a 99% fade for absolutely no overpay at all, which fits green loadouts really well. This skin is highly underrated and a great way to finish off the list for today. So that's everything that I have for you today. Keep in mind that finding some of these specific patterns takes time, and you can always go with rank 2 or 3 patterns that look just as good. If you enjoyed the video, consider subbing to the channel, and with that being said, I hope to see you in the next video. Peace out.